Onto my tumbling tomatoes now. I think that growing tomatoes has got to be one of the best vegetables to grow at home. Probably because I think shop bought ones are fairly pricey, and I know in the winter time we need to go with shop bought, that's fine. But in the summertime, I think they're overly priced, they're force grown, they're artificially ripened. So it's no wonder that sometimes, well, they can taste of nothing. Whereas homegrown ones that have been allowed to grow at their own pace are juicier and tastier. And just recently, it was suggested to me that growing basil alongside tomato plants actually improves the tomato's flavour. So I've got a basil plant I'm going to plant up with a tomato in a wee while. And having the fresh basil to pick alongside your tomato plant can only be a good thing, even if it doesn't enhance the tomato's flavours. But that's an experiment for me this summer. So growing tomatoes from seed is possible and very doable. Lots of friends do it with huge success. And you can grow some lovely heritage varieties. Or maybe if you came across a really tasty tomato in a salad when you've been out and about, you can smuggle the seeds home, dry them in a saucer on a windowsill, and then you can store them and grow that particular tomato that you've already enjoyed. I don't. I opt for buying a young tomato plant, and I especially like growing tumbling tomatoes as they require much less attention than the cordon, that's the upright growing tomato varieties. Tumbling tomatoes require no tying in or pinching out of side shoots, but I do nip out the growing tip. I'll show you that in a wee minute. Once the plant is around maybe 25-30 centimetres tall, as I find this encourages it to produce more arching stems on which the tomato will flower and the fruits will develop there. These images show the young tomato plant being potted into a basket that's 35 centimetres in diameter and 16 centimetres deep. I part filled the basket with compost, just a general purpose compost, with all the lumpy bits broken up. And then I set the tomato plant still inside its pot on top of the compost that was already filled into the basket. Now, if you can see, I laid a ruler over the plant pot to get a measure, and it wasn't a ruler to measure, it was just something flat, but I wanted to get that sort of measure against the edge of the basket to make sure that I was only filling the basket with compost so that the finished height of the compost that I was adding would not be any higher than the height of the existing level that the plant was growing inside its little pot that it's in just now. So if you have a look, you'll maybe see that the level indicated by the ruler, it's running over the top of the wee grey pot, and the ruler on the edge of the green basket that the compost is in is probably about 2.5 centimetres below the rim of the basket. And this is where I'm going to put the compost up to. Keeping this finished layer of compost below the rim allows plenty of space for watering into without the water cascading over the edge of the basket, which is both a waste of water and ultimately a mess to clear up. And then the third image shows the compost at the height of the plant inside its little pot, and also still maintaining that level, that 2.5 centimetres below the rim of the pot. And then over here, first image shows the pot and the plant being removed from the compost. The plant is taken out of its pot and is returned into the perfect hole for it to grow in, and is at the perfect depth for it. And the third image is the plant settled into the basket, and I've got that in with me today so we can have a look at how it gets. So this is the tumbling tomatoes.
Wow.
the tumbling tomato that I planted, gosh, when was this? This was only potted last Tuesday. Yes, that's right. Last Tuesday. So this one's a week old, but remember, I bought it as a young plant. I bought it when it was just a little bit smaller than this one here. Okay. So it's amazing. 1 week on, out. It's in the polytunnel. It's not outdoors, but it's getting no heat or anything like that, and it's already starting to produce little flowers here. So I said I was going to talk about feeding, and I need to do that just now before we completely run out of time. Tomatoes especially need fed once a week, once the first flowers start to appear. Now this is Tomarite. There's plenty of other tomato food out there as well. Lots of supermarkets sell their own make of it, and I have used it in the past, and it works every bit as well as the Tomarite. The secret is make sure you do it every week. That's the secret to it. We spoke about this particular one is high in potassium, which is good for, like the fruit and flower development. So the French beans will definitely benefit from this, as will the tomatoes. And we never talked about companion planting in the PowerPoint presentation. I've got some marigolds planted in here. What I find is planting the marigolds helps deter like aphids attacking the tomato plant. Now, I don't know how it works. I don't know if it's because the scent of the marigold, because they are highly scented, if that detracts from, if it kind of masks the scent of the tomato plant, or if it's the bright coloured flowers are actually brighter than the tomato plant flowers, that the aphids are attracted to the bright colours of the flowers. Whichever it is, I don't know. No scientific research to back it up, but I've always done this for absolutely years, and touch wood, I've never had any problems with an aphid attack on my tomato plants.